So today we're going to take a look at what's going to happen if the Algerians form an empire in the modern day. Now this video is going to be very unrealistic. All the events that are going to happen are purely fictional. But yeah, let's see what happens if they try to form an empire in the modern day. Let's see who they declare war on, how they expand and all those other stuff. But before we get into this video, first of all, I want to mention that my videos are meant to be very unrealistic. All the events that are going to happen are purely fictional. Also join the Discord server via the link in the description. Subscribe to the second channel. But yeah, now let's get right into the video. So as we can see here, the Algerians, more of like this is Algeria. The southern parts are just desert, but still they have potential. They can work on their military. They can probably take out a few countries. So yeah, they're just gonna do that. They're gonna militarize their country, try to even stabilize it more for future campaigns. And they're gonna try to have better relations with all European countries, even though that's impossible, of course, with these guys. But my videos are fictional, so that might just work out. The first thing that they're gonna be doing is they're gonna be declaring war on Tunisia, as they are the weakest neighboring country. It's going to be pretty easy for the Algerians to do this, but still, let's see. The Algerians now push into Tunisia, and with their far better military, they secure all of the northern parts. Eventually, we can see that the Tunisians lost their capital city, and now the Algerians are pushing down from all sides. They eventually secure all of the coastline, and after losing everything, we can see that the remaining parts of Tunisia go ahead and surrender. Tunisia got completely annexed by the Algerian Empire, and yeah, this was just the start of the Algerian expansion. One country here really does not like that, but for now they're not going to be doing anything, as the Algerians have a lot of ambition. The second thing that they're going to be doing here is that they want to dominate in the Western Mediterranean, for which they would want a formidable navy. In order to have that formidable navy, once again, they would really want to have better relations with the Western countries. Not possible, I know, but purely for expansion purposes, they would want to do that. A few years go by, we're going to assume that their navy is getting better, so is their military, because otherwise they would not be able to expand. And their navy gets so better that they want a military base in the Mediterranean Sea. They start off by declaring war on Malta, who is barely even visible. They take out Malta with relative ease, and now they have a military base in the Mediterranean. They still want to continue their expansion. After a few more years of militarization, we can see that they declare war on Libya. Libya already is going through some very tough times. The Algerians take advantage of that by declaring war on these guys when already they are in a civil war. But okay, another unfortunate thing for the Libyans is that their capital city was right on the border, and so they lost it. The Algerians push around, and their goal is to take the entire coastline. Because most of the population lives here, the Algerians now push in, and they're doing a pretty good job at taking the coastline. With the Libyans already in a civil war, the Algerians were easily able to take all of these parts. After a few years, these are all the regions which these guys were able to secure. But because the remaining parts of Libya are just desert, these remaining parts surrender, as there was nothing left to defend. Libya too got completely annexed, and the Algerian Empire is looking pretty buffed, pretty good actually, but they took out the three weaker countries up here. As of right now, they can't go against the Egyptians. They might lose the war, and they would not want to go against the Moroccans too, as they don't have the best relations with the Western countries right now. Declaring war on Morocco might trigger these guys, and since they can't go east or west, they're gonna go south. There are some weaker countries, but invading them is going to be still very hard. Regardless, we can see that they declare war on Niger. So yeah, now let's see. Once again, all of this is the Sahara Desert, so the invasion is gonna go pretty slow, but the Algerians still manage to push in, as they're also used to the desert terrain. We can see that they push down, and eventually we can see that they get to the capital city of Niger. They take it with relative ease, as Niger is a very weak country. We can see that all of these areas were secured. These were the highly populated regions. The remaining parts of Niger surrender, and this was a decisive victory for the Algerian Empire. In a peace negotiation, we can see that all of Niger got completely annexed. This might look very huge on the map, but population-wise, there's only a few people living here. Trust me, all of this is the Sahara Desert, so there is not a lot of people living here. But hey, at least it looks huge on the map, just like your mom. But okay, after the invasion of Niger, the Algerians still want to expand. They once again want to expand down south. They go ahead and declare war on Chad. But here, something interesting is going to happen. Chad is like, they really can't defend themselves, and it's better off to just join the Algerians than have a war with them. I don't know. But they would really not want a war with the Algerian Empire. Already they don't have too many things going on in the country, and because of the war with the Algerians, the standing infrastructure would be destroyed, so better off to just avoid it by surrendering. And yeah, Chad Chad got completely annexed by the Algerians. The Algerians have almost gained all of this land. For now, they're gonna go against their final country in the south. This country is going to be Benin, and they're invading these guys because they want direct access to this part of the Atlantic, and so they go ahead and declare war on Benin. And yeah, we can see that the Algerians now push into Benin, securing all of these regions, and eventually they take out the entire country in a matter of months. It was a pretty easy invasion, and finally we can see that the Algerians have access to the Atlantic, direct access for now. But after all of these invasions, the Algerian military is kind of tired. They would not want to continue these invasions for now. They're gonna rest for a while. Also, there might be some rebel forces down here, and it's pretty hard for the Algerians to manage all of this because of internal instability. This is a lot of land. But okay, the Algerians were preparing for another war. They stayed idle for a very long time. Everyone thought that they were going to stop their invasions, but they don't do that, of course. They go on to declare war on the Moroccans, and we can finally see an Algerian versus Moroccan war here. The first thing that happens here is basically before declaring war on the Moroccans, the Algerians were funding the Western Saharan rebels, and yeah, these guys kind of revolt with the support from the Algerians, and things are not looking good for Morocco here. We can see that the Algerians push in from the north. This push is very slow as the Moroccan military is also holding them back. The rebel forces push in from the south, and unfortunately for the Moroccans, they are fighting a two-front war. The troops in the north continue their push, eventually securing the northern parts, and the rebel forces, with the help from Algeria, to secure all of these regions in the south. Something very different happens, which normally does not happen in my videos. The Algerians were able to get another country to fight for them, as they were pretty much losing everything. Before that could happen, we can see that the Moroccans were able to get the French into this war. And things might not be looking very good for the Algerians here. After knowing that the French have declared war on the Algerians accelerate their push in Morocco, eventually taking the capital city of Rabat. The remaining parts of the country surrender, and now both France and Algeria are preparing. The French navy still is way better than the Algerian navy, and so they can make a naval landing at any time. Let's see what happens here. We can see that the French do make a naval landing, but this naval landing was made in Tunisia, or between Tunisia and Libya. They secure all of these regions, but the Algerian military is now on its way to drive out the French. Eventually the Algerian military does get to the front lines here, pushing the French back, but this is pretty much what the French wanted, as they make another naval landing up here, very close to the Algerian capital city of Algiers. And because most of the military was right here, these French troops now push in, and they almost take the capital city of Algiers, but they were not able to. This army was once again able to come back here, and with all their force, they drive out the French, even though it was not that much shown. But the French and the Algerians lost a lot of men. The French realized that Morocco is already lost, so what's the point of continuing the war? Maybe get their own revenge? Maybe try to recolonize this whole region after defeating Algeria? Is that what the French want? I don't know, but now what they want is they want peace with Algeria, definitely not continuing the war, and they come down to a peace agreement. So now let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is the peace agreement. Morocco got completely annexed by the Algerian Empire. So yeah, this is the Algerian Empire at its peak. So this is going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you guys want to see in the future. And thank you for watching.